Hey guys, I am not live on Twitch, I just want that to be known right now. I am just playing casually offline right now. I'm going to walk you guys through, I thought I'd start a new little series where I play, and whatever ghost I get, once I figure it out, I'll basically break down the ghost and explain it to you, as deep of a level as I can. This series idea will be beginner friendly, and it will be friendly to higher level guys. Like, I feel like most people will be able to learn something from me. Unless you're just insane at the game, then, you have no business being here, and if you're that good at the game, you're definitely not looking up Phasmophobia tips. So, welcome everybody here. If you are to the point where you feel like you need to search tutorials and tips and knowledge for the game, you're in the right spot. Because if you feel like you're to the point where you have to do that, you probably aren't the highest level player. I'm not saying you're bad, but you're probably not the highest level player, obviously, right? So, I feel like you wouldn't have any other reason to search it. So, basically, what I'm doing here is I'm setting up a test for the poltergeist. It instantly tries spawning on me, which is interesting. I need to place a few more of these down, and I need to go ahead and boom, right there, right here, and it already steps in it. Alright, and it steps in that one too. If I go over here, is it going to step in this one? So it's not leaving the room when I do. It's interesting. Okay. Oh, that light got turned off, I forgot. So we're already in a weird spot here because it's going to be tough with the darkness here, but it's fine. So it's back in the room. We do have, what was the name? It's Katiana, right? So it could be a Banshee. We'll see whenever we get more information. But, yeah, so, yeah, it only burned once, okay. Did it actually just fucking, bro. I just turned it. So the reason I know the breaker is downstairs, guys, is because I didn't hear the breaker kick off while I was on the first floor. The breaker spot for here is, whoa, what was that? That was a weird glitch. I don't know if you guys probably didn't see that. My TV, or my PlayStation's a bit fucked up, so that was weird. The breaker's over here. When you don't hear the breaker kick off when you're relatively close to it, it's not on the floor that you're on. Depending on, if you're on large maps, it's a bit different. Whoa. It's a bit different if you're on large maps. Holy shit. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, so we're just looping it right now, looking at the throws. We're just listening to the left and right side of my earbuds right now, so that we know where it's at, because it's a crawling ghost. Tap the radio, see if it comes back. Instantly comes back, so we're going to go ahead and roll out a yokai. Oh, did it come back? I don't know about that, actually. It's a bit of a tough one. Oh! Fucking hell. Don't scare me like that. Okay, I'm going to go grab another crucifix. Here, get this over with, man, damn. We're going to go grab another crucifix real quick. So, I'm doing zero evidence games, guys, but essentially this is, going to be beginner friendly, because basically when I figure out the ghost, I'm going to teach you guys every single thing that I do know about the ghost. So now what we need to do, well, we already seen it step in salt, so we're going to go ahead and roll out some things based off of that hunt, and I'll explain why we are rolling out each thing before I go back in. Let me get inside of the truck so it's not, like, really loud, because I know the ring gets annoying as hell. I need to switch that to fog. But, here we go. So, the fact that we're on zero sanity right now means that it can't be a Moroi, because a Moroi, the lower your sanity gets, the faster it gets, basically. It turned off the breaker, so we know it's not a Djinn. A Djinn is the only ghost in the game that can't turn off the breaker. We know it's not a Diogen because a Diogen always knows where you're at, and it goes very fast, and it comes right to you every single time because it always knows where you're at. And then once it gets very close to you, it slows down and goes painfully slow. The Diogen is undisputably the easiest ghost in the game to identify. Easily, hands down. With the Goryo is probably the hardest. People could debate Goryo, Mare, they could debate, but I feel like, personally, I feel like it's Goryo. It's just, at least for your average player. We know it's not a Wraith because we've seen it step in the salt. A Wraith will not do that. It used to be the only ghost in the game that can't step in salt, but technically speaking, the Galu, when it is in its enraged phase, it actually can avoid the salt when it's going its 1.96 meter a second speed. So yeah, so the Wraith used to be, but now it's not. We know it's not a Thaye because it didn't start off the hunt fast, or it didn't start off the game fast. So the Thaye essentially starts off young, meaning that it's very active and very fast. right? And as the game goes on, when you're in the ghost room, it will age. You have to be in the ghost room for this. People don't know this. People think you can just sit in the truck for like 10, 15 minutes and then go in there and see if it's slow. You have to be in the actual ghost room for the Fae to age. I can't stress this enough. A lot of people don't understand that. You have to be in the ghost room. Which is why, on a normal difficulty, you would want to find out the ghost room, bring in 2 crucifixes, just let it attempt to hunt multiple times, and burn the crucifixes, and just spend maybe 6 to 8 minutes in the ghost room, and then you'll notice a speed difference. But so for that reason, we know it's not a Fae. It didn't start off painfully slow, and it had a line of sight on me and didn't speed up, so we know it's not a Revenant. A Revenant will basically go 1 meter a second, which is very slow. We're literally talking like boom, 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 boom. Like that's the rhythm of the footsteps. And once it gets a line of sight on you, it's like boom, 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 boom. So it literally triples the speed. It goes from 1 meter a second to 3 meters a second, essentially. So the speed basically triples. It's insanely fast. We know that it's not we don't know for sure about the yokai. I'm not going to rule that out yet. We know it's not twins because the slow twin is 1.4 meters a second, and the fast twin is 1.9 meters a second. You guys are just going to have to, brutally honest, if you guys, with the footstep speed, if you struggle, you're just going to have to play longer and get it down, essentially. I'm trying to get an update on the Lions game. The Lions are playing the Steelers right now, and halftime, I think, just now ended, so I'm trying to get an update on that, but I don't guess I'm going to be able to. We know it's not a die-in because when you're within a 10-meter radius of the die-in and you're standing still, it goes 1.2 meters a second, and when you're within a 10-meter radius of it and you're moving, it goes 2.25 meters a second, so it's a drastic speed change. When you're not within 10 meters at all, which I was, it goes 1.7 meters a second. And I was definitely within a 10-meter radius, and it was going a normal speed. So whenever you're within a 10-meter radius, it either has to go 1.2 or it has to go 2.25. So we know it's not a die-in. The name is, Katiana, so it could be a Banshee. Let's see, what else can we roll out here? Really not much. I didn't get a good look at the blinking speed. So, I'm actually not sure about the blinking speed. I don't want to roll out Phantom because, to be fair, it's a crawling ghost, and I didn't really look at it at all. So, we're not going to make a rolling on the Phantom. We know it's not an Obombo because it wasn't slow and it wasn't fast. The Obombo essentially has 2 different phases, or states, whatever you want to call it. And it is the calm state and the aggressive state. For the hunt sanity, I could get more into the specifics if you guys really want me to. But for the hunt sanity, the Obombo in its calm stage will hunt at 10% sanity. And when it's in its aggressive state, it'll hunt at 65% sanity. I do 0 evidence runs, so, it's a bit different. But the calm state is essentially 1.45 meters a second, and the aggressive state is 1.96 meters a second. So now what I'm going to personally do, I'll listen for the distorted heartbeat that the Raiju has. A lot of people don't do that. They don't think it's reliable. I like doing it, but just to be safe, we're going to go ahead and throw in an EMF because the Raiju gets a big speed boost when it is around an electronic device that is actually turned on. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn it on and just throw it down on the ground. And if it gets within a big radius of it, it will get a big speed boost. It goes 2.5 meters a second. When it is getting the speed boost from the electronic, and when it's not, it's going a default 1.7 meter a second. And it can hunt at 65% sanity near any active electronic, basically. But yeah, so essentially when it's near an active electronic, 2.5 meters a second. In any other scenario, it's a default 1.7. So it is very possible, but it also has a distorted heartbeat, but we won't get into that, because if you guys are searching tips for Phasmophobia, you don't need to get into this kind of sweaty things yet. You don't need to listen for the distorted heartbeat. But the Raiju does, no matter what you hear from anyone. Not a lot of people know this at all, but I can promise you guys, I would not tell you guys any information unless I was absolutely sure it was true. The Raiju has a distinctly bass-boosted heartbeat. And it's like obnoxiously distorted, basically. I already posted this on my channel, so if you guys want to go, I think I posted it as a short as well. If you guys want to go watch it, you can listen to how distorted it sounds. So you can listen to the heartbeats in this game that I'm playing now, and then you can go to my YouTube shorts, and you can listen to the Raiju one, and you can definitely tell the difference. A lot of people say they don't hear the difference, but there is a difference. So yeah, that is another one for you guys. And I'm just walking you guys through my thought process right now. Um, and so we can roll out a Hantu because um, it's actually no. Can we? Yeah, we. It wasn't slow and it wasn't fast. So the Hantu basically is 1.4 meters a second when it's not in a cold room, basically. When it is in a cold room, it gets a speed boost and goes 2.7 meters a second. We're going to go ahead and roll out the Hantu for that reason and that reason only. It burned a crucifix and stepped in salt, and it didn't get enraged, so we're going to roll out a Galoo, and it wasn't weakened. And that's basically everything we can roll out right now. I mean, we could have looked for an Obaki Shapeshift. I feel like we would have seen it, but the light is busted in the kitchen, so it's a bit hard. So we're going to have a very default game, as you would call it, because it's going to be a very default ghost, meaning it's probably just going to be a normal 1.7 speed, and there's not going to be much to it. We're going to have to essentially wing it, but we'll see. So, one thing I've noticed... Ooh. Hold on a minute. We're being quiet here, because we want to make sure we don't get spawned on. So this door's opened all the way, this door's opened all the way. Immediately... Damn. Okay, this thing got tore up. So, remember how I said... Was that this game I said that? That I was a bit suspicious of a poltergeist? I think that was this game. Because I heard 2 or 3 things get thrown at the beginning. That could have just been a random lucky guess, but I tend to, when I hear multiple things get thrown at the beginning of the game, I'm low-key just like, fuck it, let's just go for, you know what I mean? Let's just go for a poltergeist, fuck it, why not? So now we're going to drop the electronic right here. I think what we're actually going to do is we're getting a bit of cold breath here. Or is it in here? Or is it over here? Was that just because the breaker was off? Okay. So here's what I'm going to do. We're going to let it hunt near the electronic. We're going to get... Okay, we're watching for a shapeshift. We're tapping the radio. It comes right back to us. So we're going to go ahead and roll out a yokai. Tap it again. Comes right back to us. Alright. So, the reason we know it's not a Raiju, and it is going very fast, but the reason we know it's not a Raiju is because it didn't instantly get a speed boost. And I could be wrong on that, but for my ears and what I remember, I wasn't listening too hard because it kind of caught me off guard. From what I seen, it seemed like, one, I think it is a poltergeist, but 2, it didn't seem like it got an immediate speed boost, so we're going to go right here and just hide. And we have the crucifix here to prevent it from spawning on us. And we're actually going to move this over here because we don't want it to spawn over there and get a line of sight. So we're going to move it to about right here. We don't want it to quite go into the kitchen because we don't want it to burn, basically. So we don't want the crucifix to burn. So we're actually going to move it way over here. Because if it reaches into the kitchen with the radius, there's a good chance it can burn. And then there's a good chance it might spawn on us and kill us. So we're making sure that we keep the crucifix a good distance away from the kitchen. Now we're going to listen when the hunt starts and see if it gets an immediate speed boost. If it does, it is most definitely, we'll be able to differentiate the sounds. It will either be a Hantu speed up from the cold room, which is 2.7 meters a second. Or it is a Raiju speed up, which would be 2.5 meters a second. Let's actually go throw this on the stairs real quick. So we're going to burn that incense right there. So we got very, very valuable information on that hunt. Here's why. Let me get out and I'll explain it to you guys. The reason is it didn't get a speed boost in the cold room. We've seen visible cold breath coming from the kitchen when we were in it, meaning that the Hantu most certainly, guaranteed, would have sped up to its usual 2.7 meters a second speed from the cold. And we threw the EMF on the stairs while it was downstairs, which was a good move so that we could basically differentiate if the speed boost was in the kitchen or if it was on the stairs. If it was a Raiju, it would have got a speed boost on the stairs when it was coming up because it was within the radius. So we know it's not a Raiju, and we know it's not a Hauntu because it didn't get a speed boost in the kitchen while we had visible cold breath coming, meaning that the room was cold. So we know it's not that. So we know, basically, I believe, yeah, it's not a Phantom because when it was the standing up, the adult female ghost model, it wasn't blinking painfully slow. The Phantom it's very easy to identify. You guys can get the photo camera and take a picture of it. It'll disappear in the photo. It'll say, what does it say? Invisible Ghost? I can't remember exactly what. Shadow Ghost? I don't know what it says. I haven't played with the photo camera in a while. I don't really use it. I just kind of go for speed runs nowadays. But it blinks painfully slow. It's basically invisible the whole hunt, and you see it it's very, very obvious. You'll see if you just keep playing. You'll see it. Now we're going to get a good look at the blinking speed. Hopefully it'll be a standing model this time so we can get a good look at the blinking speed for the Oni. I haven't seen a shapeshift. I'm going to rule out an Obaki, but I always could get corrected on this because I'm not the best at identifying Obaki shapeshifts. I'm good at it, but I'm not the best. We tapped the radio a few times and it instantly came to us, so we know it's not a yokai because a yokai will actually ignore that most of the time. It depends on the radius, so what I do is I stand in the kitchen, I'll wait for it to go either on the stairs down to the basement or the utility room that goes into the garage that leads into there. So that's when I tap it, and if it doesn't immediately come to you, then you actually know it is a yokai. But if it comes right to you, you know it's not a yokai. Because it is, the hearing detection distance basically is 2.5 meters, I believe. I could be wrong on the exact distance, but it's very easy to figure out a yokai. And it's a lot more active. The yokai is actually a lot more active when you're talking in game chat near it. It gets a lot more active. It actually can hunt at 80% sanity when you're talking near it. And if you're not talking near it, it hunts at about, I think, 50%, if I'm not wrong. I could be wrong on that number. I'm pretty positive it's 50. It could be 60. I want to say it's 50. 50 sounds a bit more right to me. And the reason I don't know the exact sanity hunting numbers on most of these ghosts, I can get most of them, but the reason I don't know is obviously because I do zero evidence, zero sanity games, so I don't really pay attention to that. I haven't really done games where you start off with sanity in a very long time. So it is a female ghost model. It could be a Banshee. I'm thinking Poltergeist or Banshee. We can do a smudge test now, so what we're going to do is we're actually going to get my phone out real quick. I'm going to pull up my 3-minute timer. So what we're doing now, essentially, is we're going to smudge it with the incense. And basically, when you smudge it with the incense, when you click X and burn it, it blinds the ghost. The second that you click that to start burning, the second that the incense starts burning, not at the end of the hunt, it's the second the incense starts burning. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run in, I'm going to incense it, immediately hit start on my 3-minute timer. What the 3-minute timer does, you guys might have heard a lot about this timer, is every single ghost, except for the spirit and demon, are the same. So every other ghost will have 90 seconds until it's able to hunt. So basically, I'll make it like this for you guys. If you smudge it and immediately start a timer, if it hunts before 90 seconds, it is a demon. If it hunts after 90 seconds, it can be any ghost in the game, but the spirit has to wait 3 minutes. So the reason you're doing a 3-minute timer is because if your 3-minute timer goes off and it hasn't hunted yet, it's basically guaranteed to be a spirit, unless you mistimed it or something. If it hunts before it hits the 90-second mark, meaning if you're doing a 3-minute timer and it's counting down, whenever it hits 1:30 is when every other ghost is able to hunt. If it does it before it hits 1:30, it's a demon. If it's really close, like within 2 or 3 seconds, just kind of say, I might have mistimed it, let's redo it, if you have enough incense. If you don't have enough incense, just trust your gut and go with whatever. You can use all the other available information that you can, to come to a conclusion. If it goes a painfully long time, like 3 minutes, and then it hunts, it's safe to say it's a spirit. It's pretty much guaranteed. Like I said, if it's close with the timer, like if it's 2:58 or 2:59 when it starts hunting, or 2:55, I make it a general rule of thumb to give yourself like a 3-second margin of error, meaning that if it's within 3 seconds, whether it's 3 seconds early or 3 seconds late, don't be so positive that you've perfectly timed it, essentially. So it started, did it start a hunt? I'm trying to think earlier, I think the first hunt it started the hunt in the kitchen while I was in the kitchen, but I think it started in the dining room, so I don't want to roll out a shade. A shade will never start a hunt in the room that you're in. So that is a very important information to know. The shade, it is the only ghost that can appear as a shadow ghost model, specifically on the summoning circle. Music box, I think, and I think even monkey paw. It could be monkey paw as well. And it can't perform singing ghost events. The shade does not do singing ghost events. As far as I know, yeah, it is a shade. I know, I was second guessing myself, but I can guarantee it is a shade. And it will not hunt if it's in the same room as you. Yeah, and it won't do events in the same room as you as well. So we're gonna grab. Do we have 2 smudges? We do. So we're gonna go do a smudge test now. But yeah, the shade will not do a ghost event in the same room as you, but it will do. It can do ghost events in the other room. So here's what we're gonna do. Get this on. Of course, the breaker's off. I kind of want to be safe here and make sure I don't get spawned on. So do I have another crucifix? Let's go make sure real quick. What else could it be? Is there anything we can rule out? We can't rule out a Yuri, I don't believe. We do not have another crucifix. Okay, so we're just gonna have to hope that we don't get spawned on here. If we get spawned on, that's very tragic. But we'll see. Personally, I don't want to go turn the breaker on right now. I'm just gonna wait for it to hunt, and we're gonna immediately smudge it. And then we're gonna go in our hiding spot, and we're gonna set a 3-minute timer. And that's a fake hunt. The reason we knew is because it was a shadow ghost model. We're hearing a lot of things get thrown. I low-key just want to say it's a poltergeist. But I want to show you guys, I want to give you guys as many visual examples of things as I can. I feel like it's going to spawn on me. If it spawns on me, you know, I don't need the money. But I'll essentially be sure that, I'm already pretty sure it's a poltergeist. But, you know, I'm trying to run you guys through my entire thought process and show you guys how to. A lot of people get stuck on these things. Like, you know, they always get down if it's a default ghost. It's like, oh, is it Gorio? Is it Mare, Onryo, Myling, Oni, you know, Poltergeist Shade, Spirit, Yuri, Demon Band. Like, you know, people, these are all default. We're talking about multiple default speed ghosts where you can't really get them to change speed because it's just not a thing for that ghost other than line of sight, but they all have that, so it's not going to matter. So I'm trying to explain to you guys. And see that ghost mist right there that we just seen? That's how we know it's not an Oni, because we didn't get a good look at the blinking speed, so we know it's not an Oni. Does that ghost event started in here, and I'm in this hallway. Could that potentially count as a ghost event starting outside of my room? It is hunting. Here we go, boys. Ready? We're going to start the timer as soon as we smudge it. Let's tap the radio to get it over here. 3, 2, 1, go. Boom. Perfect timing. We literally were less than a second off right there. Here's what we're going to do when the hunt is over. We're hearing doors be opened right now, so we're going to go see if any of them are open at an angle. Because the Yuri, when it does a door interaction, well, I think it's done. When the Yuri does a door interaction, it always has to fully open or fully close the door. Let's go turn the breaker on real quick. Hopefully we don't get spawned on. I will spaz out if we get spawned on. Every ghost after it's done hunting, we have a 25-second span of time, essentially, to, I kind of want to loop it. But we smudged it, so we're good. Now we're just waiting for the hunt to start. Into the third quarter, Lions are losing to the Steelers. So I'm going to hurry up and get this game over with and explain to you guys so that I can go watch the end of the Lions game. We have a timer going. It has officially been a minute right now. So a demon is the only ghost that's able to hunt for the next 30 seconds. So within the next 20 seconds now, if we hear a hunt, it's a demon. Now we're just waiting. We're not hearing anything. We've got 15 seconds of being safe. That's why I'm kind of standing here, because I'm pretty positive it's not a demon. 140, 139, 138, 137, 136. We're going to go ahead and get back in our corner. Safe to rule out a demon. So we're going to rule out a demon, because any ghost can hunt now except for a spirit. So now we're just listening for that. And it's spawning over there consistently, so I feel like I can move out, move out over here, but I don't want to get dangerous. Boom. You hear that? It started a hunt. And a spirit would not have been able to hunt for another minute and 10 seconds, so we're rolling out a spirit. But to clarify with the Yuri, outside of a hunt, when it does a door interaction, it always has to fully open or fully close. It can actually do them at an angle. A lot of people don't know that, including myself, who was previously confused about it. Outside of a hunt, it can actually do them at an angle. The fact that all these doors are open, granted, it's hunting, so it's a bit different. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to get a bit risky here and hope it doesn't spawn on us. Which is why we're grabbing this crucifix right now. And boom, it tried hunting on us. Alright. So this is a bit tricky. We're going... Whoa. Okay, that scared the shit out of me. I always do that. I always forget about my timer. So we are, granted, if I die, don't be surprised, because we're in the ghost room. Actually, I'm going to kind of back up here, and I don't have time to set up a poltergeist pile. We're going to wait for it to start hunting and try to clear out the area, like over there, and then we're going to try to loop it, because we need to get info on a poltergeist here. I've heard a lot of items get thrown this game. I wish I could check how many total I have, but you've got to wait till after to do that. But yeah, no, so the Yuri, when it is hunting, it actually can open a door halfway. But outside of a hunt, if you see multiple door interactions, like 5 or 6, and it always gets opened or always closed all the way, you can be like, okay, maybe it's a Yuri. But if you ever, at any point outside of a hunt, see a door get pushed a little bit and it's not either fully closed or fully opened, you know it can't possibly be a Yuri. So just a fun fact about that. I'm suspicious of a Yuri and a poltergeist because I haven't seen a single door opened at an angle and it's been a while. We'll see. Look, I just heard 2... Was that 3 things I just heard get thrown in the span of 10 seconds? So, since I'm pretty sure we have a poltergeist, guys, I'll give you a rundown on the poltergeist. I'm going to go ahead and mark it. During hunts, it will throw an item every 0.5 seconds with a very high velocity, very high speed, way higher than other ghosts. Me and my friend, who always, we're both pretty good at the game, he always joins my streams and stuff, we both struggle with the throw speed, so it's very hard, very annoying sometimes. It throws them further and faster, way faster, and it also has a poltergeist explosion, which you guys might be familiar with. Hold on. Okay, it's going downstairs. So what we're going to do now is we're going to get it up here and we're going to look at the throw speed even though the lights are off. It's a bit risky. So I actually didn't see a single throw that stood out there, which is a bit interesting. So I don't know if we have it. Then again, there was not a lot of items, so that's why it's a bit hard. We're going to try to set this up. We have about probably 15 more seconds of safely... Whoa. Dude, it is very active with throwing items. Look at that. It's very active with throwing items. We're going to go ahead and set this up and try to get out of here now. If we can get one more thing placed, that would be beautiful. Boom, and boom. 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 So, I'm pretty positive. Oh, dude, it is throwing. See how many things it's throwing, guys? That's what's making me think it's a poltergeist. Another fun fact about the poltergeist, it has an explosion event, which essentially it'll throw multiple objects at the same time. You'll see like 5 or 6 things lift up slowly, and then boom, they'll get flung across the room. And when it does that, it actually drains your sanity, if you're nearby it, by 2% per item thrown. So if it lifts up 5 items and boom, slings them, and your sanity drains 10%. If it lifts 7 up, then it goes down 14%. 2% per item thrown in the poltergeist explosion. Okay, let's get it over here one time. Just for the throws one more time. So it is standing up now. We didn't get a lot of info there. I might not be able to get a chance to show you guys the poltergeist throws, but I'm pretty positive it is a poltergeist, mainly because of how many objects it's throwing outside of the hunt. It's a way higher chance to throw and interact with objects, and it throws them much faster and further. We didn't see anything blatantly get thrown fast or far, but we have heard a lot of objects getting tossed around. So we're going to go ahead and go Poltergeist. Yeah, the reason... excuse me. But yeah, I mean, there's multiple things you can do here. Obviously, for the Mimic, we could go look for ghost orbs on a zero evidence run at least, and, you know, we could do that. You know, if I had to say, I feel like it's only possible that it's two ghosts. I feel like it's Poltergeist or Yuri. And it's just we're solely going off of, sometimes you just gotta guess, and you gotta narrow it down and just make the best educated guess you can, which is usually the best move. A lot of people tend to overthink it, and they want to test for every single thing possible, and that's not really a wise thing to do, and you're essentially wasting time, increasing your chances of dying, especially if you go through all of your instances and stuff. Granted, you can start off in a hiding spot, but there's always a chance it spawns on you. I tend to have good luck when it comes to getting spawned on, but I do have my moments. So I personally don't see it being anything other than a Poltergeist or a Yuri, and I'm solely going Poltergeist. This is why we're making a very educated guess right now. I believe there's about a 80% chance it's a Poltergeist, 10% chance it's a Yuri, and maybe a 10% chance that it's either a Goryo or a Mirror or an Onryo. Solely based off the fact that the hunts seem to be starting in the same room, and the kitchen has had cold breath coming out of my character the whole game, meaning that the ghost room has been there the whole entire time and it hasn't changed at all. So that is another very valid reason it could be a Goryo, but just based off of the sheer amount of objects being thrown, we're going to go ahead and go Poltergeist, but don't be surprised if it is a Goryo or a Yuri. I feel like it's probably not a Goryo, you know, and it actually, the Goryo won't actually wander out of its room very often, but let's go ahead and put this down here. But you rarely ever see the ghost wandering and doing events outside of its room, which could be very valid as to why it could be a Goryo, because I don't think we've seen a lot of things get thrown outside of the ghost room. If I get tricked, then it's fine. And boom, look, it is a Goryo. So we made a good guess based off the sheer amount of objects that was getting thrown. Let's see how many things actually ended up getting thrown in that game. Let's see here. Interactions, 265. Objects used. Objects moved, 219. So, to be fair, that's a very high amount of, time out of favorite room, 5 minutes. Time in favorite room, 26. Hunt duration, 3 minutes, 30 seconds. One location, garage. So, as I said, I was kind of leaning towards Goryo a little bit more at the end, because I was thinking, not leaning, I was still thinking Poltergeist, but I was still thinking solely, the more I talked about the Goryo, the more I was convincing myself that it was, because now that I was recalling all of the situations, I was like, damn, yeah, that is true. As I was talking out loud, I was also thinking, I was like, damn, yeah, the freezing temp. And, as you can see from my difficulty, I have the change favorite room frequency on high. The Goryo will not do that, though. The Goryo literally will never change ghost rooms. So the fact that, and obviously I have this for difficulty reasons, because it pays out 10.65x multiplier, so that it changes room very often. I should have went with the Goryo, if I'm being honest. The more I talked about it, the more I convinced myself, but the only thing that got me and pulled me in the end was the sheer amount of objects that I heard. Obviously, like I've said, the more I thought about it, I was like, yeah, cold breath was in the kitchen the whole entire time, meaning that the ghost room did not change at all. And I was thinking, damn, it probably will end up being a Goryo. But, it's fine. We heard a lot of objects get thrown. As you can see, there's like 200 and some objects fucked with, like touch and shit. So, it's very valid. What was the other ghost that I was saying I was considering it potentially being? I can't remember. I said Poltergeist. Oh, Yuri. Yeah, Yuri was, honestly, it's a bit tricky. It was just based off the fact that I seen like 4 or 5 doors all the way opened. But that didn't really mean much, because it was, it was hunting, so it doesn't mean too much. It makes sense, though. It makes sense that it was a Goryo. Obviously, I'm not a perfect player. Everything I've told you guys is true. I'm explaining every single thing I can. Even I'm going to get tricked sometimes, that doesn't usually happen. Usually if you guys go back and watch my stream VODs, I usually start off like 5 for 5, and then I get one wrong every now and then, and sometimes I go downhill, but, just, the point of this wasn't to get it right and be like, oh, look how good I am. It's just to explain things to you guys. Everything I've told you guys in this game was true. And even me, as much experience as I have, that just goes to show, like I said earlier, I believe I said at the beginning of the video, the Deogen's the easiest, Goryo's the hardest. As you can see, the Goryo managed to trick me, even though I was pretty sold that damn, it probably is a Goryo. Like I've already explained 3 times, it never changed. The cold breath never left the kitchen on a difficulty where the room change frequency is very high and very frequent. As you can see, it never changed it. I should have went with Goryo based off of that information alone. I don't understand how so many objects got thrown, but now that I think about it, the fact that so many of them got thrown, I was in that game for a very long time. So it kind of does make sense if I'm being honest. But, you know, we've done our thing here. If you guys want to see me play lower difficulties to show you the evidence and show you some other things, more specific things that I can show you, like hunting sanities, special abilities, like regarding the evidence, like the Goryo, for example, has one where you can't see it on the dots unless you're looking through a video camera. So if you ever shine a video camera or point a video camera onto the dots projector and you see a silhouette through the camera, but you don't see it with your character's eyes, like off the camera, you know it's a Goryo. And if you ever see a silhouette, obviously, when you reverse it, if you ever see a silhouette on the dots without the camera, you can instantly roll out a Goryo. So, you know, the point of this video was to explain everything to you guys. We didn't get the result we wanted, but we basically narrowed it down. As you can see, regardless if we got it right or not, it was essentially a guess to stop myself from making a fucking 5-hour video. Yeah, as you can see, we got it right. We said at the end, here's what I think it is. And I don't think it's the most reliable pick, but this is why I'm picking it. This, and this, and this is why I'm picking it. But this is why it could also be this ghost, and it could also be this ghost for this reason, this ghost for that reason. And you see we got it down to 3 ghosts that we thought it was, and it just so happened to be one of them. And the more I talked about it at the end, the more I convinced myself it was a Goryo. But I get a little bit stubborn, and when I pick a ghost, when I officially say, yeah, I'm pretty sure it's this, it's hard to get me to change because I'm biased, because I want to trust my first instinct, because I've tried to learn to go with it. But as you can see, it backfired this time. But yeah, that's basically a very in-depth, not crazy in-depth, but pretty in-depth rundown of, you know, my thought process going through games and, you know, stuff like that. Hope you guys enjoyed this. I'm going to do more of these videos explaining, you know, things about the ghosts and stuff, and I might even switch over to, like, Nightmare or Insanity difficulty, even though it's for toddlers, but, you know, it's for babies who don't know, who are too scared to do zero evidence. But, you know, we'll do it just so I can explain some of the evidence things and hunt sanities and all that. We'll do all that, don't worry. But, yeah, I'll see you guys. I hope you guys at least learned a few things. If you guys learned one thing from this, I'm happy. But, yeah, that's basically all I've got for you guys today. I'm going to post more in-depth, you know, videos about Phasmophobia, because I've learned a lot. I believe I'm good enough to the point now where I can be a teacher of the game instead of being a student. I feel like, obviously, I'm always going to learn stuff. I learned a few things yesterday, but those were, like, very complicated things, and I finally got some things figured out. But, yeah, if you guys ever want to see more of this, I know I've kind of yapped for the last, like, 8 minutes, but, yeah, appreciate you guys for joining, and peace out. Do not subscribe to me.